the fight begin.
Welcome back to Fightvember, the series that looks at beat-em-ups and brawlers from past decades all the way up to present day. In today's battle, we are looking at Technos Japan's 1987 genre-defining arcade game, Double Dragon. It was the brainchild of director Yoshihisa Kishimoto, who previously created the Ketsu Koa Kunio-kun, better known outside of Japan as Renegade. In interviews, Kishimoto said he wanted to bring the feeling of martial arts movies into a playable form. His earlier work with Kunio-kun was changed when it was brought to the West to feature gang warfare-style visuals with its Western-themed settings and characters more commonly seen in a movie like The Warriors. Rather than its original schoolyard brawling imagery. Double Dragon expanded on the ideas in his original game, combining street fighting action with cooperative gameplay as players took to the streets, battling an entire gang with nothing but their fists, their feet, and the occasional baseball bat. The name Double Dragon came from two ideas. Double is an obvious reference to its two characters and its two-player cooperative mode, and Dragon was a nod to Bruce Lee's film Enter the Dragon, something Kishimoto drew heavily on for his first game as well. The premise for Double Dragon is straightforward. Billy Lee's girlfriend Marion is kidnapped by the Black Warriors gang outside their garage. Joined by his brother Jimmy, the pair set out to rescue her, and I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Why didn't they just take the car instead of walking? When it arrived in arcade, Double Dragon became a phenomenon. In Japan, it ranked among the top-performing arcade games of 1987, and in the US, it was reported to be the highest-grossing arcade game in both 1988 and 1989, with over 10,000 cabinets sold by distributor Taito America. Tito? If games like Final Fight helped chart a path for how brawlers will continue to evolve, then Double Dragon definitely laid the foundation for all of them. Each player uses an 8-way joystick with 3 buttons, one to punch, one to kick, and another to jump. Pressing punch and kick together performs a powerful backward elbow strike, while jump and kick execute a flying kick. Players could grab enemies, toss them around, or even slam them head first into the ground. Weapons could also be used. Baseball bats, whips, knives, dynamite, they're all fair game, but be wary because your enemies can use them on you as well. The game's 2-player mode added something new for arcades. True, cooperative, play. Players could help each other take down enemies with cooperative attacks, but friendly fire was also a possibility, so it was always best to have a plan of attack when taking out enemies so as not to hurt each other. But fans of the game already know that in the end, only one could remain standing to win Marion's affection. The arcade version features 4 missions, each with its own distinct environment and boss battle. Mission 1 takes place on the city streets outside the Lee brothers' garage. Players fight through alleyways and rooftops, climbing ladders and avoiding traps before facing the wall-busting Abobo, the game's first boss, a massive, muscular fighter who became one of, if not the most recognizable enemy from the series. Mission 2 takes you through a factory, an industrial zone filled with moving conveyor belts and platforms, and deadly packing boxes. These surfaces can add more complexity to a fight and increase danger if players or enemies get too close to their edges. Defeat the boss at the end of the level and it's back to the great outdoors in Mission 3's forest level. But there's no time to stop to admire the scenery, as a non-stop barrage of enemies will throw themselves at you as you make your way through the forest, across rivers, and up through the mountains. Many Abobos make their home there, and they will try and stop you from reaching the totally concealed and not obvious entrance to the Black Warriors' hideout. This final mission is full of traps and collapsing floors, as well as multiple bosses, including Jeff, a mirror version of the player character. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. His name is Jeff. Jeff? Really? He's a mirror version of the player character who uses the same attacks on you as you've been using on everybody else. Lay out enough enemies in the throne room, the machine gun toting Willie Willie? Who named Jeff and Willie? These are the big bosses at the end. Okay. The machine gun toting Willie appears to take care of business himself. In single player mode, defeating Willie allows Billy or Jimmy to rescue Marion and save the day. But in 2-player mode, defeating Willie leads to one final showdown. Billy versus Jimmy, to decide who wins the love of Marion. The enemy sprites that make up Double Dragon's Black Warriors gang come to a grand total of just 6. You have Williams, your basic street dog, who sometimes comes at you armed with a knife. Roper is the tougher vest-wielding enemy who likes to throw barrels and dynamite. Linda is the only female fighter who attacks you with her whips. And of course, you have a Bobo, the towering boss character who appears in multiple variants throughout the game, including his not quite obvious Incredible Hulk skin. Each type does appear with increasing frequency, and as the game progresses, palette swapping helps to keep the action a little bit fresh, but kudos to Taito
Nailed it.
for doing a lot with a little. And speaking of doing a lot, the success of Double Dragon continued well beyond the arcades. It was ported to nearly every major home system, with the most famous version being the NES port. It removed the simultaneous 2-player mode and introduced an experience system that let players unlock new moves as they progress through the game. Now, people tend to either completely love it or completely hate it. However, Nintendo's version was a major commercial success, reportedly selling over 100,000 copies in just its first month. It topped retail charts throughout the United States that summer, and as awful as it may have been, the Atari 2600 version, released just a year later by Activision, sold nearly 500,000 cartridges, making it one of the most popular late-era titles for that console. In 1984, Double Dragon tried to make the jump to live action with a feature film.
Destiny has brought together the Double Dragons.
That starred Scott Wolf as Billy, Alyssa Milano as Marion, and the T-1000 himself, Robert Patrick.
You're gonna love this.
Despite the recognizable cast, the film grossed less than $2.5 million and was considered widely to be a box office failure. However, its lead actor, Mark Dacascos, went on to achieve pop culture fame years later as the chairman of Iron Chef America.
Let the battle begin!
Giving Double Dragon the movie an unexpected connection to another kind of arena battle. So from packed arcades to sold-out NES shelves, Double Dragon was more than just a game. It was the foundation for an entire genre. Its mix of teamwork, style, and challenge defined what players came to expect from beat-em-ups, and decades later, its legacy still echoes in every game where 2 players stand shoulder to shoulder, ready to clear the streets, one fight at a time. Just watch your back when that last enemy drops, because you never know when your partner might turn and face you and declare his entry into the non-stop action we find here in our own arena, known as Fightvember.
The fight is over!